Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Andrew Woodhouse Show. It's Friday, the 6th of September. Hope everybody's having a brilliant day. I'm sorry it's been a while. I've just been quite busy this week, so it's been quite tough to get a chance to do one of these. But I'm back. I'm here with some of, like I say, the most recent sporting action and talking points for you as usual. If you like what you see, like the video, share, comment, and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me, as you know, it's a very very new project for me, and something that I'm really enjoying. So if everybody could contribute, that'd be wonderful. But there's absolutely no pressure to do so. Right, let's start with somebody who I've not mentioned yet on the channel. A veteran of football, one of the great world stars of the sport, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo. He got his 900th international goal, his 900th goal in his career yesterday, and it was a tremendous achievement for him. As you know, it's his 22nd year, I believe, as a professional. Beating Croatia 2-0. It was a volley from just outside the 6 yard box, and he pretty much broke down in tears, and it showed really what this game still means to him at 39 years old. I mean, he's got a lot of detractors, and rightly so. And sometimes I've been one of those, because I don't always agree with how he conducts himself on the pitch sometimes, or some of the decisions that he makes. But you can't deny his longevity. You can't deny the impact he's had on the game of football. You can't deny how good he has been, and how good he still is. And don't get me wrong, he's very much a diminishing concern in terms of being one of the greats of the game currently. But the fact that he's playing international football, the fact that he's still scoring goals, it's 131 international goals now, and it's hard to deny. He is undeniable, really, and yeah, he only plays in the Saudi league, I suppose, but he's averaging over a goal every league game in the Saudi league as well, and that is a league that is becoming much stronger with the additions of all these foreign players going into it, and making their mark there. So, and bringing the overall quality up, I suppose. There's always that debate with Messi, and I'm not going to get into it here, but what he's doing at that age, and how fit he is, and how sort of physically strong and mentally strong he is, he's pretty amazing. And I always have said, if you're good enough, keep going. I think it's crazy that sometimes that athletes will retire in their early 30s, or even the late 20s, because I just think that it's such a special time to be playing, and such a gift to be given, these athletic talents, and to work for these talents, and to forge your career, to just give up at this, a certain stage, is, when maybe you're still in your prime. I'm thinking about maybe someone like Zinedine Zidane, or there's a lot of people who've retired in their early 30s, and I think deep down they've probably regretted it, because could have got a lot more years out of the career, and great moments. And Ronaldo had a great moment in the Nations League, and it was against Croatia as well. So not necessarily a not sort of an easy task, but he scored his first goal. It says his first two goals on the 7th of October 2002, at the age of 17 years and 8 months and 3 days. More time has passed since the scoring of his first goal than had passed between when he was born and when he scored his first goal. So, yeah, tremendous. And this is crazy as well. He scored 437 goals since he turned 30. That was February 2015. So he really is a bit of a marvel, honestly. And he just keeps going, and fair play to him. And as long as he's, as long as he's fit and healthy and still enjoys playing football, then I don't see why he shouldn't carry on. Should he be Portugal's number 9, number 7, effectively? Probably not. Not starting anyway, probably at this point. But I do think that he's still definitely got a contribution to make. Either as a substitute or as a bit part player, maybe half an hour a game, that kind of thing. I think he still could be extremely, extremely effective. And whatever he wants to do after he's finished playing, I'm sure he's going to contribute to football in a fantastic way. Messi, 867 goals, so not far behind. Says he wants 1,000. I think he could do it. If he can do 2 or 3 more years, I don't see why he can't do that. He's still prolific for his club. There's even talk of him wanting to come back to European leagues and things like that. I think that would make that obviously a lot harder. Given obviously the quality of those leagues. But yeah, a wonderful milestone and a great achievement for Cristiano Ronaldo, for sure. And speaking of great achievements, one of my favourite football stories of the year, one of my favourite football stories in a long time, really, is San Marino finally, after 20 years, winning a competitive game of football for the first time. They beat Liechtenstein 1-0. It was Nico Sensoli who scored the goal, just a 19-year-old. And fair play to San Marino. They famously scored, took a very early lead against England in a game in the 90s, a qualification game, I think that was, a World Cup qualifier, I think. But young lad wasn't even born the last time San Marino won a game, and ironically it was against Liechtenstein, and it was the same scoreline, 1-0. Just, of course, in a friendly, so it doesn't count effectively for competitive games. 140 games it's been since they won, and they've only failed to lose 10 times out of the 206 games that they've played. So they've 8 draws and these 2 wins, but they've won a lot of games. They've scored in a lot of games in the last few years. I think they went on the run of scoring in 3 games in a row. They're definitely improving. The overall quality of the team is definitely better. They drew with St Kitts and Nevis 0-0 in March, so I think they're definitely slowly but steadily improving. I think the quality of international football has got better. Even the minnow nations now are, somewhat decent. I mean, the young lad who scored, Italian 4th tier, he plays in, so equivalent of our League 2 here in England. So it's not a terrible quality at all of player there, but yeah, it's fantastic that they've got this win. They've worked really, really hard for it. Kept a clean sheet as well, which they've definitely done a lot better recently in terms of the defence since England beat them in that qualifier in 2021. 10-0 it was, I believe. So they've definitely shored up at the back and become a bit more solid, and and they've become more of a goal threat as well, and that's two very, very good things working together at the same time to create success, and hopefully they will have more success soon, because I think I think it's about time that they sort of came up through the system, and it's such a very small part of Italy is San Marino, that it's only 61 square, so it's half the size of Manchester is San Marino, and yet they can produce a football team, a decent football team, and hopefully one that goes on to win a lot more games. And speaking of Italy, it was the Italian Grand Prix on Sunday, and chaos reigned really in terms of strategy. There wasn't really a much more superior strategy. The teams thought it might be a two-stop because, and for the majority of them it was, new track surface at Monza, more degradation, more tyre temperature, shorter stints was the idea. But for most, it was the case of a two-stop. But one man decided, well, a couple of people decided not to do it. We had one. It was fairly split actually throughout the field. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 people actually decided to go for the one-stop strategy, and it paid off handsomely for Charles Leclerc and Ferrari. They won the race 2.6 seconds ahead of Oscar Piastri. Leclerc held on to the lead after the second round of pit stops. He was about 10, 12 seconds in front, I think he was, and Piastri closed that into 2.5. But Leclerc held on with good degradation on his part. He was just about quick enough to keep the lead. A couple more laps, yeah, he would have been in trouble, but that the race isn't a couple more laps, it's 53 laps, and it was a sensational drive from Leclerc. Very, very consistent indeed, considering his fastest lap was actually one of the slowest in the in the top half of the field. In fact, it was the slowest out of all the top 8 drivers. So he was slow, he was steady, but one of the key parts was that at the beginning, it wasn't that slow at the beginning actually, because he managed to stay behind Oscar Piastri in the DRS. He managed to keep the DRS for several laps, and that pulled him along. And to be honest, that is what, hitting the microphone there, sorry, that is what won him the race, because those extra seconds that he managed to keep, to gain in the DRS of Piastri, certainly were enough to propel him to the victory. Wonderful win for him. It's his second win at Monza for Ferrari. And still, for Leclerc, he has still got a very, very outside chance of the championship. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen for Lando, so I definitely don't think it's going to happen for Leclerc. But, him and Piastri and Sainz, if an absolute disaster happened for somebody, they could still be in there, but it would require complete nonsense really to go on. But Leclerc putting himself at least in a position where, if other people fail, if there's retirements, a couple of wins for him, could be right in there. Ferrari haven't shown that pace really to be winning races on a consistent basis, but ironically they have won 3 of them this season. They're only 39 points behind Red Bull themselves. Everyone's talking about McLaren. Ferrari could still win this Constructors' Championship, and I don't think they will. I don't quite think they've got the pace in the race, but they're there or thereabouts. And if they can slowly take points off Red Bull, could even see Red Bull slipping into 3rd place in the constructors. If Ferrari can just extract a little bit more performance out of their car in the last 8 races, I think it is now. In terms of the next few races, it's the Azerbaijan Grand Prix on the weekend of the 13th to the 15th. That's next weekend, of course. And one of the key talking points from that is that Kevin Magnussen has been banned by the FIA for one race for excuse me, for gaining too many points, penalty points, on his license, on his super license. So he's been banned. He won't be able to take part in Azerbaijan. And so Haas have just announced, actually, in the last few hours, that Oliver Bearman will be taking part in his second Grand Prix of the season and in Azerbaijan. Bearman, of course, has been announced for Haas for 2025. He's going to jump in the car. You know, it's a good idea for him to be in the car. I do think that, from my point of view, I would have given it to Pietro Fittipaldi, because I think he's just been a stalwart for them behind the scenes, testing, simulator work. You know, he was very desperately unlucky to not get the seat, I think, in 2020, I think it was, when Mazepin was there. Is it 2020 or 2021 with Mazepin? Sorry, it was 21 with Mazepin, wasn't it? I thought Fittipaldi would get the seat in 2021. He didn't. And, you know, I think it would be great for him to at least compete in another Grand Prix. I think did he actually do... Am I stupid? Did he actually compete in a race? Did he compete in Bahrain? Yeah, he did, didn't he, in the place of Grosjean? Wow, I'd forgotten that. That's crazy that I'd forgotten that, to be fair. Oh, he's done 2 races. Oh, fair enough, he did Sakir in Abu Dhabi. Oh, of course he did, because Grosjean wasn't back, was he, by that time? Okay, yeah. Fair enough. Oh, well. It would have been nice for him to get another race under his belt. I think he deserves it for his loyalty to Haas and you know, the commitment he's shown to them over the years as well. But yeah, he's doing all right in IndyCar. But Bearman, as for him, you know, he's definitely turned up the wick a little bit in terms of his results in Formula 2. Got the win, of course, the other day in Monza. He's climbing up the standings slowly, but I think that in terms of him, it'll be good preparation. It'll be good to see what the team systems are like, and the race day procedure, which, you know, yeah, it might be similar in other teams. You know, he obviously has done it for Ferrari. It will be slightly different for Haas, so it'll be good for him to get that under his belt before he tackles a full 24 races in 2025. As for the expectations, I think expectations are going to be quite high on him, to be honest, after what happened in Saudi Arabia. But you've got to remember, he's driving the Haas and not the Ferrari, so even in the brilliant hands of Nico Hülkenberg this year, and to be fair, Magnussen, you know, has done a few good races as well. It's just been a car that's been able to reach the fringes of the points. And in Saudi Arabia, yes, he finished 7th, but yes, he was driving a Ferrari. It will be different for him this time. I feel like Bearman does have great potential. I think he will be a success in Formula 1. He's been touted for quite a long time. And, you know, getting another race under his belt, it's going to be great for him. Can he get some points? Who knows? I personally don't think so. I think Baku's a tough circuit if you've never been there before. However, you know, we have seen the likes of Lance Stroll getting on the podium in Baku, of course, in the past, in his first appearance there. So it's not completely without merit that he could register some points on his return to Formula 1. And we'll see what he can do. I am looking forward to it. And then he'll be looking for, of course, a full season in 2025. So, it is time then for the NFL season to begin. And I'm very much looking forward to it. It was a great season. Last season, it opened up last night with the Kansas City Chiefs, the reigning champions, 2 times reigning champions, beating the Baltimore Ravens 27-20. It was a good performance from them. It's always difficult to come in as a defending champion and win in week 1. There's so much expectation. You know, is your offense going to be working? Was preseason, you know, the tonic that you needed to get back into it? Excuse me, I'm a little sniffly today. I do apologise. But Detroit, my team, they're coming in against the LA Rams. They're playing Sunday night football. Monday, 1:20 a.m. British time is going to be that game. But can the Chiefs win 3 in a row? Well, I think they can, right? Mahomes, he just finds a way to win, and I don't really know how I can describe it. Just finds a way to win. Sometimes he doesn't look like he's got a clue. Sometimes he looks like he doesn't have a clue. And then other times he turns into an absolute master. You've got the rookie Xavier Worthy. You know, he's got a touchdown, his first touch in the NFL. You know, Worthy with a couple of touchdowns, brilliant night for him. And his first, you know, his first appearance. Lamar Jackson played well for the Ravens, but it wasn't quite enough. Wasn't quite enough. It was very close. They're a good team, the Baltimore Ravens. We know this. Derrick Henry with a touchdown as well, but you know, he didn't really do a lot in the second half. You know, a couple of touchdowns, but maybe not as much impact as they would have liked, because you know that's what you need in these early weeks. You need to be able to get over the line. Didn't quite do that time, but yeah. Amazing work from Xavier Worthy on his debut, and that will serve them extremely well, I think, going forward. You've got the game tonight is the Sao Paulo game, Green Bay, Philadelphia. Controversy over that appears to be around the colours of the uniforms, because a certain gang culture in Brazil, I think green is not really allowed to be worn, and the 2 teams that the NFL have chosen to play there are both teams that wear predominantly green jerseys, so they're having to change. I think the Packers have gone for white, and I think the Eagles have gone for black, so they're actually wearing a black helmet for the first time, I believe. I've been reliably informed, so that should be interesting to see. I'm sure the fans are going to go crazy for that. It's going to be great. Brazil always provides a great atmosphere, no matter what sport that you know you're watching or you're playing. So that'll be fantastic. Can anybody challenge the Chiefs? Well, I think the 49ers are going to be up there once again. I think the Lions are going to be strong. Can't count out the Rams. That first week game for the Lions is the Rams, but you cannot count them out. And a lot of teams are rebuilding and looking like they're doing solid football. Jacksonville Jaguars are a bit of an outside bet as well, as they've restocked nicely as well over the summer period. So a great season in prospect. I'm really looking forward to it. You know, there's a lot to watch at the moment with the baseball on and football being back and American football being back and these wrestling pay-per-views as well. Yeah, it's a great time to be a sports fan, and you know, a great time for me as a result. I'm not going to lie, it's fantastic. And one of the other things that will be fantastic is that this news that came out yesterday that Rory McIlroy and Scottie Scheffler are going to team up to face Bryson DeChambeau, Brooks Koepka in a TV match later on this year. It's to do with, I think, that the fact that the PGA Tour and Live Golf have been meeting for a long time to see if they can actually reunify golf. And we spoke about this, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago on the show, about how golf seems to be getting back in a slightly better place and a more unified footing. All for all intents and purposes, apart from the leagues not coming together, and you know, that there must be some sort of way that you could have Live Golf and the PGA Tour maybe under the same umbrella. I'm not sure. You know, Live Golf seems to be doing quite well. PGA Tour seems to have had a good year. It's definitely bounced back a little bit from the lull that happened when the split took place. I think people have realised that actually now we've got different stars in our side of the game, no matter which competition that you're interested in watching, whether it's Live or whether it's the PGA Tour. I feel like, like I said, new blood's been coming through, new stars are being made, and I think it's a tremendous time for the sport. I don't think golf has ever been stronger. I don't think golf has ever been more lucrative. I think, like I say, the strength in depth in these fields is amazing. Some of these players who, you know, they're ranked 50, 60, 70 in the world are, you know, sensational. They're capable of winning on any given day. So I think golf's in a great place. Can it get back together? Is it necessary for it to even get back together? That's another question. Does it have to happen, or is it just something that maybe a lot of people would like to happen? I don't know. I think I'd like to see it happen. I'd love to see these guys, you know, battling against each other week after week on the world's best courses and in the majors. I mean, the majors they do most of the time, right? But week after week, it could be amazing. But yeah, this could be a step towards it. As for who's going to win, and my money's on McIlroy and Scheffler. I think it's definitely more consistent lineup. I think between the two teams. I think Koepka is the main one who I think that if he's on his game, I think those two will win, especially with Bryson being, you know, such a massive hitter and everything. But I do think that McIlroy and Scheffler have a slightly better all-round game. I think they can take it if they play to their potential, and fight as hard as they can. And speaking of fighting, we were talking. We were talking about boxing the other day, but more in regards to the UFC. But story from a couple of days ago that Mike Tyson, that Jake Paul was asked, you know, ahead of their fight, which is now going to be in November, the 15th of November. Jake Paul was asked, do you have a backup opponent in case Tyson isn't healthy enough to face him? Jake Paul says no. Mike Tyson's he's healthy, and you know, there's not currently a backup opponent. So basically, it comes from the fact that Mike Tyson, he had an illness. He had a stomach ulcer, I think it was, that kept him out of the original date of the fight, which I think was supposed to be in. Was it supposed to be in July? Yes, it's July. He pulled out on medical advice. He's now back training again, and the 58-year-old is ready, apparently, to face Paul in November. Now, there's still quite a long time away. It's still 2 months from now, so anything can happen to either of them, I guess. But I think one of the questions is, should the fight happen? I think realistically, no. I think Jake Paul is probably too inexperienced, and I think Tyson's probably too old. But having said that, when he did do those exhibitions against Roy Jones and the like, Tyson did show that he still looked like he had something left in him. I think Tyson, if he wants to win this fight, I think he has to get it done quickly. I know that's the age-old thing with Mike Tyson, saying that he needs to win quickly and get the fight over with. I do think he does need to win in the first couple of rounds, otherwise he might be in trouble. Whatever you think of Jake Paul, he's only 27 years old. He's physically fit enough that he can last the rounds. We've seen it. I think that Tyson will win. I think Paul is stepping up to a level that I don't think he knows how to deal with it. I think he'll get in there, and I don't think he'll be able to cope. That's my opinion. Even though Tyson's old, he still hits very hard. He's still got that mentality in him where he wants to win. I don't think he'd have taken. I mean, I know the money is obviously the main talking point, but I don't think he would have taken the fight if he didn't think he could win it. And there we go. And Jake Paul hasn't fought really anybody of note. He's fought some retired MMA fighters and some guys who haven't really, whose UFC careers have fizzled out and things like that. No disrespect to those guys, because I'm a huge MMA fan, but I think this is a level above now. And we'll have to see how Jake Paul can cope with it. He's a big, strong lad. He's certainly a decent boxer, for sure. Especially considering where he's come from in his career and what he's been doing with his career. I do think he's a decent fighter. But is he a decent fighter compared to actual boxers? I don't think so. I think you'd put him in there with any real member of the... a traditional member of the cruiserweight or the heavyweight divisions. I think he gets mullered, but see what happens with Tyson. I think Tyson will win early doors, I do. But if he doesn't, I think Jake Paul will win. If Tyson doesn't win in the first 2 or 3 rounds, I think Jake Paul wins the fight. I think he'll be running around him by the end of it, and he'll be outboxing him, I think, by the end. Just on sheer fitness alone, I think that Paul... I think he'll have the edge at that point. But we'll see when they get ready to rumble in November. And on that point, I just want to finish on a little point that... a little cool thing for some of you. I don't know. Some of you watching might have been fans of the TV show Robot Wars, as I was. And I still am. If it comes back, I'm here for it, of course. BattleBots is on, the American version, essentially, which was around at a similar time as the original UK Robot Wars. BattleBots is still about. It's on Discovery in America. I don't think we can get it here in the UK, sadly, but I did used to watch it when it did used to crop up on a few channels in the UK. But anyway, the long and short of it is, if you fancy sort of yourself as some kind of robot builder or robot fighter, there's a game out on Steam now. I bear in mind I'm not getting paid to talk about this. I'm not getting anything from these guys at all. But Nerd Island Studios have made Robot Rumble 2. It's out on Steam now. It's free. And it's a robot fighting simulator, a robot combat simulator. And it's based in the Unity engine, so the physics are really brilliant. It's by far the best one I've ever played. You may have played the old Robot Wars games, which were fun, but the physics of robot fighting were simply not there. It just sort of turned into a bit of a button mashing contest. And then there was Robot Arena 2, which is the longest sort of serving robot fighting game, where the physics were a lot better. But as it was a 2004 game, it's by today's standards, it's kind of severely lacking at this point now. even though a lot of it is sound, there's some things that are a bit janky and a bit old feeling now. Robot Rumble 2 is a modern, beautifully looking, beautifully made game. Really good damage model. It's probably the best I've ever seen in a robot fighting game. Physics are excellent. You can actually, grabbers actually grab. Flippers will flip when they're under maybe 1 pixel of the other robot. Spinners react exactly, nearly exactly how they would in real life. It really is a brilliant game. You can download if you go on their Discord. If you do play the game and you're wondering where do I get my robots from, where do I get my arenas from, if you go on the Robot Rumble 2 Discord, you can join there, and you can find a lot of homemade robots from people who are on the Discord, and also replicas of some robots that you may have seen on TV as well. I'm hoping that this Steam release, and this is one of the reasons why I'm talking about it, is I'm hoping that the Steam release can get a lot of eyes on the game, get a lot of people interested, because robot fighting, millions of people used to watch Robot Wars on the BBC. Similar numbers used to watch BattleBots in America, and still do in the countries that you can watch that program. So there's a big market out there. There's a big sort of fan base of robot combat, and I'm hoping what it'll do, this game coming out, is that it will sort of wake that sort of dormant community, and you can make this game massive with, and I'd love to see everybody tackle it. I'm no I'm no CAD expert or anything, which you sort of have to be able to build a really good robot in that game, but some of the replicas of the robots that have fought in Robot Wars and BattleBots are amazing. That I've seen there. A lot of the best ones, unfortunately, can't be used at the moment because the build of the game is a lot newer and the physics engine has changed slightly, so they don't work. But I hopefully what this release will do will get people reworking those robots, get them back in action, get them back working on the new build. And I want to see, my dream is to be able to pick any robot from the history of Robot Wars or BattleBots and pit them against any other robot in any arena and fight it out. So Robot Rumble 2, it's available now on Steam. It's completely free. The developers have said it will always be free. They do welcome donations. If you want to give a donation to them, there is information, I think, on the Discord of how to do so. But yeah, Robot Rumble 2 is out now, and yeah, go and play it. It's fantastic. It will it'll run on nearly most PCs. It will run on, even at a low level. So go and give that a try, and go and start the show. But my show is about to finish for today. So thank you very much for joining me here on the Andrew Woodhouse Show. It's been a pleasure to be back. And yeah, if you liked me talking and rambling for 38 minutes, then please, like I said at the beginning, like the video, share, comment, subscribe. It's free. You don't have to do anything to do that. Apart from click a couple of buttons. Easy. Makes me happy. Makes everybody else happy. And it'll make you happy as well. Come on, you do your good deed for the day. That'll make you happy inside. It'll make you smile, as it makes me smile. So there you go. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a really lovely weekend. Cheers.